Welcome back to News Channel 9 at 6.
Tonight in The Price of Freedom, the story of a Ray County man. Jack Morgan's military career took him all around the world.
23 years of military service and 40 years total of government service. Josh Roy joins us now with the story. Josh.
Calvin and Kim, Lieutenant Colonel Jack Morgan is now 92 years old, fought in 2 wars, was part of some of the most significant events in world history. He told us his memory's not as good as it used to be, but he spent an afternoon telling us stories from the 1920s and 30s and every decade since. Jack Morgan grew up in a large family in and around Dayton.
Grandfather fought in the Civil War.
When Jack was 19, right after Pearl Harbor, he tried to enlist but was turned away at first. He joined the Army a couple of months later.
I took the test for the pilot. I aced it. I've aced several tests.
After training, he was sent to Europe.
It was at the tail end, and I got to fly several missions in P-51.
The fighting ended, but he stayed. He flew messages during the Nuremberg trials, a series of military tribunals, mostly for the prosecution of the leaders of Nazi Germany.
I didn't want to use telephone or even Morse code.
Jack Morgan says he flew trips to Africa and all over Europe.
They gave you something, you cranked up the airplane and went.
The U.S. Air Force was created in 1947. Jack Morgan resisted going initially, staying in the Army.
I just took that test and aced it, and they made me an Army Master Sergeant.
But was later recalled into the Air Force to fly missions during the Berlin Airlift.
Actually, I was stationed on in the British zone on a British base in the northern part of Germany.
This was during the occupation of post-World War II Germany. The Soviet Union blocked off access to Berlin to the Western Allies. Morgan and other pilots flew supplies into Berlin. A few months later, he was sent to serve in the Korean War. He trained pilots and flew combat missions as well.
I had my hand on the throttle. The bullets came up on the side, hit my foot and leg, hip. Of course, I was holding the controls for some reason.
During the mission, he took a round to the hand and lost his finger.
Got treated and that was it.
You got treated and that was it?
Well,
How long were you in the hospital?
I wasn't.
You weren't? You got shot in the foot and the hip and the hand, and you just got treated and
went back to the office to. I didn't have anyone educated on my part of the job.
When he got out of the Air Force, he stayed in government service for 17 more years. He worked in finance in Greece for the U.S. government. I asked him what it was like to serve for 40 years altogether.
Hell of a lot of fun.
Talk about packing a lot of life in 92 years. He also told me, like, when he was in the service, he also met some movie stars. He trained Clark Gable, was part of the group that trained Clark Gable to be an aerial gunner. Also met Jimmy Stewart as well. So he's had a lot of stuff in his life that he likes to tell about, and a very interesting man, no doubt about that.
How about that?
And he was shot and he lost a finger?
He lost part of his finger. You can still see his hand. He's missing part of his finger, and he just went back to work. He got patched up, went back to work. Tough man.
Absolutely.
Tough man, yeah.
All right, Josh, thanks so much.